Like whatever you want to do, I'm with it, but you have to do something. And whatever that is, I support it, but that can't be just a dream.
Right.
Like you're really gonna have to narrow down what is it that you're gonna do,
right.
and then study, practice, do what you have to do to become the best at that.
Thomas Roach, Director of Marketing with Senior Life Insurance Company. And we're at the Rosen Shingle Creek Resort in Orlando, Florida. And like always, we're all fired up. We just finished our Run Fast event. I've been hosting it all day. I am a little hoarse. I sound different than the other podcasts. Please forgive me. But we have an amazing, just such a special guest, a man that I'm just a tremendous fan of, Dr. Eric Thomas.
Yeah, I told you that's ET to you.
Yeah, ET.
ET to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you're a very busy man.
Yeah.
When I think of Detroit, I think of guys like Royce the 5'9".
Yeah.
I think of like Guilty Simpson,
Yeah.
Black Milk,
Yeah.
guys like that, St. Andrews Hall, the Hip Hop Shop, all those kinds of things. But I do know that in a corporate world, in a lot of different settings, there's a negative connotation that comes with that. But that is a culture and a thing that even in your title that you embrace.
Yeah.
Why is that?
You know, it is. The culture is a part of the fabric of this country now.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying? You can't separate it. The
Absolutely.
Colonel is playing hip hop on his commercials.
Yeah.
KFC,
Yeah.
he's dancing. You know, it is just a part of the culture. And I think music has always been a part of the culture. There was a time where there are those who are in the corporate space who did not want to acknowledge it.
Right.
But I think it's so big now.
Right.
It reaches so far, and it's not a ethnic thing.
Right.
It's just a American thing.
Just a thing, yeah.
And so my thing is like, yo, E is real.
Right.
I feel way more comfortable doing it
Yeah.
than I feel doing something else.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be authentic, and I wanted to be true to, you know, like you said, Detroit.
Yeah.
Not only is music Detroit,
Yes.
Also blue collar.
Yes.
You know, Ford, GM, Chrysler,
Yes.
people working in the plants.
Yes.
You know, the Midwest, the steel mills. So this is how we dress going to a plant.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you didn't necessarily wear a shirt and a tie to
Right.
go to a plant. So
Right.
I was just trying to be as true as I could to my culture.
You talk about, you know, in your speech today about not talking corporate.
Yes.
Has that ever held you back?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like anything else. You know, I was talking to a lady, I'm studying, you know, Spanish, estudio and Espanol.
Right.
And she was like, I said, believe to her in Spanish. She's like, whoa, did you just say? I was like, absolutely.
Right.
So what happens is when you speak the person's language,
Yeah.
there's a connection that's there that's not there when you don't.
Right.
And so I didn't speak corporate. Again, as I mentioned, I was never exposed to it growing up, you know, in the city.
Right.
But there are so many benefits, you know, in corporate. And more importantly, a lot of the people that I used to talk to in the plants aren't at the plants anymore.
Right.
And they're in corporate, but blue collar corporate.
Right.
And so I needed to learn the language so I can get there and be a blessing to them, because I knew there are going to be a lot of people that are come and give them a dynamic message, but everybody's not going to be able to relate to them.
Right.
And because they don't relate, they may not receive it in the way they're supposed to receive it. So even today, you know, I felt and feel Ron's heart, and I know that there'll be people in the room who are cautious or
Right.
skeptics,
Yeah.
only because they're not from a certain community. And I want to be able to say, hey guys, don't do that.
Yeah.
You're killing yourself. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm in corporate space. I'm here. I don't go everywhere. I don't speak for every company that calls. I'm here. Do me a favor. Take advantage of this opportunity.
Yes.
And I know they'll hear both of us, but there are some people in the room who will hear it differently.
Right.
Coming from me. And it's not, I don't think it's a black or white thing. I think it's an experience thing.
Right.
And there are kids in the room or adults who've had my experience,
Yes.
and will be able to say, oh, if E says it's good, they already kind of believed it was because they're doing it,
Yeah.
but not 120. And I want to leave the room and go, this is not something you should be doing 70%. If you're going to do it,
Right.
just give it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Black man from Detroit.
Yeah.
A lot of odds stacked against you.
Yeah.
Did you always believe in yourself?
Definitely not. You know, I believe what everybody else said about, you know, me and my guys or not having your biological father in your life. But I was fortunate. I had a pastor who came in my life, and he wasn't on the religious stuff. He was on the, what's your purpose?
Right.
Like, what are you gonna do with your life? Like,
Right.
you 17, running the streets. Like, what you gonna run the streets for the next 20, 30, 40? He's like, bro, you gifted. He saw this before I saw it.
Right.
You know, and so he was one of the first people that made me believe. And then my wife wasn't as kind in making me believe.
Oh, wow.
She was a little bit more forceful. Like,
Right.
we got to eat.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We got to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And you are our talent.
Yeah.
We need you to go and make it happen. Stop making excuses. Stop being lazy. Like, whatever you want to do, I'm with it. But you have to do something. And whatever that is, I support it. But that can't be just a dream.
Right.
Like, you're really going to have to narrow down what is it that you're going to do.
Right.
And then study, practice, do what you have to do to become the best at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw you speak in October at the A3C conference in Atlanta.
Yes.
A young lady stood up. She said that she was homeless, lived in her car for a very long time, saw your content, and that's what inspired her to make a change. I feel like you do a service as an inspiration to so many people, but I think at the same time that's such a huge thing. How do you embrace it? How do you deal with so many people just feeling so attached to you?
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I try to pretend like it don't exist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I try to be, you know, as I try to live as much of a normal life as I can. So I'm still at Walmart.
Yeah.
I'm still at Target. Sometimes I get, you know, they'll bombard me, but I'm like, yo, I'd rather get bombarded and live my normal life than to, you know, stuck in a hotel and I can't make moves. So I've just tried to really just pretend like I got a normal life, give all the, you know, glory to God. My mentors are people that have been a blessing to me, and just try to stay normal, you know. And again, it's tough. Like you said, you got kids saying, I look to you as a father, not a motivational speaker. Like, I look to you as a father. And so I wake up in the morning and go, all right, I can't be everybody's dad, but from 3 to, you know, 3:30 from noon to, and plus my kids are old. My son's 24 now, my daughter's 21. They don't want me to father as much as I used to. So I got a little bit more space with the father thing, because they like, Dad, go do somebody else. Like, we grown now. But I do. If I'm speaking, like here, if somebody comes to me, this is the time to be that Eric that they need me to be. But Will Smith said something funny. I saw it last week, and he was like, yo, you have to be careful not to be the character that people see you as. And be you. Like, don't go into, and so I really just try to be the guy you see on YouTube, the guy you see every day, you know, the guy that you think you look up to, and just try to live as much of a normal life as possible.
Absolutely. We talk about with our agents, because a lot of people becoming agents, there's a lot of fear involved. But for a lot of people, they have what we refer to as an aha moment, where they decide to go full throttle. And some of the people today that you saw that are having such a tremendous success, it was because they had that moment. For you, as whether it was getting educated, whether it was helping your family, becoming a motivational speaker, for you, what was your aha moment?
Yeah, so 2, Les Brown, Bob Proctor.
Okay.
2 giants in the game. Bob been in for 50. I don't want to age Les. So I don't know how long he been in the game. Les be like, I ain't been in for 50. I've been in for 30. You know? So however long he been in the game, but both pulled me to the side and had a serious, like, yo, you are gifted, act like it. You know, you're gifted, walk in it, charge. Go out and say, you know, I'll never forget, I won't say a name, but I said a speaker was like the best speaker in the world. Les was like, oh, don't you ever do that. You're the best in the world. And I was like, what? He's like, no. You are the best in the world at this moment. There's nobody as transparent, nobody giving what you're giving. And I was like, well, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but he's like, no, you. And that changed for me, because it was like, okay, first of all, here is a giant who could easily say, I'm number 1, you number 2. And he was like, no, you are number 1, and Les would call me once every 3 months, like now, and just call him like, how you doing? I'm good. What do you need? You still know you number 1, right? And I'm like, man, it's just like Serena helping Coco, you know, telling her, training with her, working with her, and telling her, you are the best now. Like, maybe I was the best, but you are the next 10, 20, 30 years, you're the one. So those 2 guys are responsible for helping me boost my confidence.
That's really amazing. Being a motivational speaker is a very hard thing to get into. I watched another speech, because I watch a lot of your content just naturally. After you went viral on World Star because some kids weren't listening and you were there for free. That's when you originally got on my radar, and I just started watching your content constantly after that. And you've said before, like, there was a very long stretch as a motivational speaker that you didn't get $1. What kept you going?
I never did it for money. I've always done it to inspire. You know, so like that was it. I never went, I want to be number one. I told you, Les called me, by Proctor called me. Like, I never wanted to be number one in the world. I just wanted to, in my spare time, motivate people.
Right.
And that's why I never got discouraged. I was never scoreboard watching.
Right.
You know, I wasn't trophy watching. I wasn't salary watching.
Right.
I love the game.
Yeah.
You know, I'd play the game for free. If I never got paid, like this is what I eat, sleep, and drink. And I just happened to get a break where people started to like here's what I tell people. And that's not to be cocky. I was already who I am now when it was VHS. It just, I'm sorry, it just, whoever saw it.
Right.
And nobody else, but now with social media,
yes,
everybody can see the one speech you did a gazillion times. So I was always going to schools for free.
Yeah.
I was always, you know, hitting churches and detention centers and prisons. Like I've been doing this work, maybe not as far back as 8-track, but at least cassette tapes. I remember selling cassette tapes. And I just think I was fortunate enough to come out when social media came out.
Yeah.
And again, that's not something you can predict. No. But I was just so fortunate to, because I don't think I'm better than the other guys, but all those other guys came out maybe 10, 20 years before me, and they didn't necessarily get the privilege of raising the millennials, Generation Z. I just happen to be the guy that's raising the millennials.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We always talk with our agents about their future with Senior Life, their future with the company. Where does Eric, because I heard you're going to slow down on the corporate event, so we're definitely very blessed to have you, because it's going to be, you know, you're going to fill your contracts.
Then you're in the Rolodex, so we might see each other again, but no new friends. No new friends.
What's the future for Eric Thomas?
Nobel Prize, you know, changing the school district. Like I truly believe, and I know you can attest to this, I don't know that I or anybody else is dumb, but the way the school system is set up is like, yo, what's this 180 days, 13-year thing? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
You know, but that's so much time to be in one spot that you should get something from all of that time.
Yes.
And I want to go in and show teachers, oh, it's not a one size fits all. Like every kid, like they should tell me, you talked. Imagine that. I talk too much. Like imagine that. Like, I can't talk enough now. But because my gift didn't fit their program, it was like, get out of here. You know, and I want to show teachers, you know, you got 4 different kids in the classroom. You got to learn how to meet each one of their needs. So I'm looking forward to getting into schools and telling little kids, like, bro, you can't get anywhere without, I'm not going to say a degree. You can get to it without a degree, but without an education. You have to know how to read. You have to know how to write. Look, you come to Senior Life. The packages are, the plans are in English. And so if you can't read, you're not going to be successful. And critical thinking skills. If you don't have critical thinking skills, you can't forecast and analyze. You're messed up. You know, so I just want to go into schools and get that 13-year-old that clocked out of school and then eventually had dropped out at 16. I want to go back and talk to those kids before they get to that point.
Absolutely. Very, very admirable. I always give our guests, I know that you are in a hurry, so I definitely appreciate you taking this time, but I always give our guests on the podcast, before we wrap it up, is there anything else you'd like to mention? Any comments or anything you'd like to say?
Well, just in case my wife ever sees this, I love her dearly.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I just want to say to everybody out there, especially that you're in this business.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense to have a leader if you're not gonna follow him.
Absolutely.
You know, and people ask me all the time, like, "Why your wife tell you this? You just do." I'm like, bro, it don't make sense to be married to somebody and I'm not gonna respect her. Like, why would I get married to her if we're on the same team? And so I just want to say to those that may be listening later, you can't listen to others who are not the leader. We don't know what their motives are. We don't know why they're telling you don't be in this business or don't do this or don't do that. Like, we don't know why. So I would just say, if you have a leader, you have a leader. You have leaders. Follow the leader.
Definitely.
And don't look at it as you're less than a human. You know, because you're humbling yourself to another human. But we all have to go through that process. When we were walking, you guys did a phenomenal job, but they were, you know, bodyguarding me and was like, nobody can touch, you know, we got to hurry up and get to the podcast. But there were 2 women that I hugged. And they were like, yo, why you hug those 2 women? I was like, those were elderly women. So they went before me. So I got to stop and show love. And those who have gone before us in this business, we have to listen to, we have to follow. They've already gone through it. And I tell my son all the time, like, bruh, I've been 24. but you ain't never been 49.
Right. Right.
I promise you want to listen to me.
Right.
I've done the 24 thing.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it looks like. You've never done 49.
Yes.
So listen to me and know that of everybody in the world, what I'm saying to you is because I have your best interest in heart.
Yeah.
And I want to see, and they have to know that the leaders created this business with their best interest in heart.
Yes.
And if they do what they're told to do, how they're told to do it, they are never going to want for anything financially.
Definitely.
You know?
Thank you so much for taking this time.
Yeah, thank you.
I know that you're in a hurry, so this is definitely a blessing for me, just being a huge fan of yours. This is an honor. So thank you so much for coming.
And thank you. You guys can't see all of these guys that's doing all the work here.
Right, right.
We just sitting chilling, but thank you guys for the setup. Appreciate you guys dearly.
Definitely. Thank you for saying that. And like we say, we finish every podcast. It's Senior Life, all your life.